conceptual perspective to things. People talk about a desire to be successful. All of the elements.
Hey everybody, Dr. Rick Wallace dropping in on you. I hope that everything is going well on your end. I'm actually out doing some work outside of the office. It's been one of those weeks and I needed to get out and clear my head. And been having some conversation with some friends of mine, people who I actually consider to be real friends, and I don't have many. And we've been talking about some of the challenges that we as black men are up against, and a couple of things popped up, and I want to address the first thing first, and I'm going to get into this idea with some of the things that came up. There's this idea and belief in a way of thinking amongst our people that if there's a family, there's a black man and a black woman, and they're together, that because there's a man in the house, there should never be a need for help. There should never be a reason for help. You got a man. Now, my thing is, the friends I have, I can call and tell, hey, man, this is going on. I need your help and support in whatever it is. We're talking economics right now. So, hey, man, I need blah, blah, blah. That doesn't happen often. But if they got it, I've got it. No questions asked, because they know I'm a grinder. They know I'm putting in work. They know what I do for my family on a regular basis. But this idea that a family with a man at the helm that needs help is somehow diminishes the value of the man. First of all, we're more than a commodity. We're more than just a paycheck. We're more than just the person who pays the bills. Yes, I believe in a guy being a provider, and I don't believe in struggle love. And I'm going to give you the difference between what I call struggle love and what I call striving to be better and to build together coming out of a particular situation. The reality of it is, we can sit up and pretend on social media all day long that so many of us got it together. Everything is cool. Everything is grand. I've been blessed enough to be financially in a real sweet place. And then I've seen it all go away. Poor decision making. I don't care who you are. You don't protect it. You don't spend right. You don't do what you need to do. You can lose it. And I've worked very hard to build back from literally nothing. And I know where I come from, and I know where I'm at, and I'm okay with who I am. But there are a lot of brothers out there that get up and go to work every day, do everything they can to be providers, hold down 2 jobs, whatever it is. And that can still be a financial situation. That can still be an issue. And because that happens doesn't mean that person is less than a man. You got some guys who are blessed to have great jobs that they can do everything and still are horrible husbands and fathers. And then you've got a guy that's sitting up giving everything he's got, and he's being made to feel small because people in people's ears telling them, hey, if he can't do this, then he ain't a real man. When the black man is purposefully marginalized. Now, I'm not making no excuses. We got to get out there and do what we got to do and get it. But I know people who are out there doing everything they can, working 2 jobs and still looking for another job and still looking for a better job, taking classes and doing a bunch of other things to try to come out of it. And there's this vacuum. So we have to work together. So first of all, this idea that is something wrong with a person who needs help. That if it's a man in the house and the family needs help, then something's wrong with the man. That's not reality. I grew up in a house where my grandfather held it down, retired from his job after 30 years, worked with my grandma. Very rarely within a situation. I never as a child experienced the lights being turned off, the gas or anything being turned off. We never had that problem. But there were times my grandfather had to go to his best friend, which was also his cousin, and ask for help. And we had those talks about what that is and what that looks like. The fact that we compete against one another so much that we use the time when a man is down to beat our chest because we are not down. you know, because I can help somebody, I'm better than them. No, I've never been better than them. And here's something that I've always done, whether it was a female in my family or whatever, whenever someone that came to me that I knew was a female had a man and they came to me for help, I said, first thing I asked, does he know you're here? I'm not going to use no names or no designations because I don't want to put them on blast, but y'all know who I'm talking about. Does he know you're here? No. The first thing you need to do is go back and tell him you came to talk to me, then send him. And when he comes in, I'm going to give it to him. Why? Because it shouldn't be another man giving your woman money to take care of Bill in the house. If it's a man wants to help, he should be okay with giving it to the man and saying, brother, when you need help, just call me. That's what brotherhood is. Brotherhood is saying, hey, bro, seems like you're struggling a little bit. Hey, they hiring out at my spot. Hey, bro, if you need a little bit of extra work to do, there's some things you can do at my house. That's helping. The idea that you want to belittle someone because they're in a situation where they need help, that's not where it's at. That's not where it's at all. And so now let me tell you something. What I'm saying is, sisters, you need to hear this part. You need to hear this and you need to be aware of what I'm saying. I'm not into that struggle love thing. I'm not saying that you're not going to struggle, because that's BS. Unless you're just independently wealthy, you're going to have some financial issues that pop up no matter what your salary is. Unless you're independently wealthy, meaning that you literally have your money working for you, creating more money than you need to live on. If you're working a job, a 9 to 5, and you haven't set up mechanisms that make sure that you're good, you're going to have problems. Let me explain something. Struggle love to me is this perpetual place where there's never any financial peace. There's never any, and there's no sign of financial progress. If you're starting out in a hole and you unite with someone, you're in that hole. That should be some signs that things are getting better. That should be some signs that you're making more and earning more and having less debt than you had before. Sometimes it's as simple as managing the debt. Sometimes we increase our income and increase our debt simultaneously, and so we never make the progress to create the comfort we need, and we never have the money that we need to invest in things that will create that on long term. That's more on the financial understanding and management side. But the idea is, struggle love is, you're never where you need to be because people aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. To me, when a man should feel bad because his family is struggling is when he's not trying, when he's not putting in work, when he's not getting up and he's not doing what he should be, when he's not calling around, when he's not tapping into resources, whatever the situation is. If he's out there trying, if he's out there hustling, if he's out there. Now, if it's something wrong that just simply says it's something about him that he's never going to be that person, then that needs to be dealt with. That needs to be dealt with. If for some reason he isn't that person. See, everybody also has a threshold of what they need from their life. In other words, some people are going to be happy in a small 2 or 3 bedroom home with a average mid-sized car, and that's fine. And there's a guy that can provide that. And then they're going to be person that wants a 4,000 or up square foot home, and they want this, and they want trips, and they want all that, and that's the lifestyle they got in their mind. That guy that was able to provide that first house may not be the guy that can provide that. That may never be the case for him. He may be a person that's built for that and can't see beyond that. His vision doesn't put him in a situation to strive to produce the type of income that comes from. That's a mindset. That doesn't mean he's a bad person. Doesn't mean he's sorry. Doesn't mean he's trifling. It means that he will never get past that capacity because that's how he sees the world. Then you need to know these things when you get with people. But the idea, now that struggle of striving to build together, saying, hey, this is where we started at. These are our goals. You need to sit down with one another, have some ideas about what's coming, what you need to do, when you're going to come out of something, be building something together, building businesses together, building a financial structure on which you can grow and come out of things and have a clear understanding of where you're going, because this is what will happen. If you don't have an idea of where you're going, if you haven't marked where you started and you're not marking your progress, you're going to run into a financial wall. It happens. Anytime you're striving for something, you're growing for something. You're going to have moments where it just sucks. And if you haven't marked your progress, it's going to be easy to look and believe that nothing good is happening, that you've always been in there, and you're going to forget all the moments where you were excited about how awesome things were going, and you're going to fall back into that situation where, man, this life sucks, nothing going wrong, and you're going to mistake it for struggle love. Struggle love is when there's been no progress and there's no indication that there will be any progress, and you can look back 5 years ago and it was the same income, same situation, same everything, and it's got to do with a lot of things. The bottom line is, if you've got an income in, there's a way to get it done. Most of the times we don't want to make the cuts and the necessary adjustments to match the income until we get more income. And then when we get more income, we tend to go out and create more expenses. A lot of the stuff can be managed. If you got somebody that's bringing something in, then find a way to make that work. And if not, sit down and talk. But the whole idea that a man should be embarrassed if the family needs help is why we're in so much trouble now. We got so many black men stressing. I had conversations with several black men this week alone, and we were talking about this, and we were coming to the conclusion that we need to get together and start doing something, because everybody is on their island. Everybody's on their island doing whatever it is they can to hold their family together, to hold things tight, and to do everything. And this person's over here going through this. This person's over here going through that. That person's going through this. And nobody is sitting up together. So we've made a pact that we're going to actually start working together. We're going to get some space together where we can show up every day, and we're around each other so we can sense when somebody's going through something, so we can be there. And this isn't just about money. There are stresses and strains that we men go through that we don't talk about. We've been trained to have the universal response of, I'm good. It's good. I'm great. Nothing. I'm good. And the truth of the matter is, we can be in a bad state, in a bad situation, in a bad place, just like anybody else. And we have a target on our back in ways that most people don't even realize. The only person that can come close to understanding the black man is the black woman. And there are still things, just like things we won't understand about them, that they won't understand about us. They don't know how we're thinking and what we go through, and the hurt and the pain we have on the inside when we can't do what we feel we should be doing for our women. You got some men that don't care, but you got that in every race. You got some men that'll sit up and take and do nothing. You got that in every race. Don't let nobody fool you and think that there's a race where all the men are just showing up and killing. There are game runners in every race. There are cons in every race. There are lazy men in every race, and so much more. If you got a man that's getting up, putting in work, learn what he is good. Every man ain't good at everything. Find out what your man is good at and back him on it. Get behind him on it. He's out there a lot of times walking this thing by himself because there's no unity among black men. He's out there walking it by himself. He's trying to figure this thing out. He's trying to do it. And he's getting frustrated. And then if all he gets from you is a reminder of just how short he's coming up, and it's never any time where you're telling him how good he is. One thing I can say about my wife is that she reminds me of who I am. And that's good and bad. And what I mean by good and bad is, it's good all the way around that she does it, but she's not there to stroke my ego. She's there to be a mirror of who I am. So when I look at her, I see either I'm making progress or I'm not. But what she is she's not ever just sitting up, and the only time I hear from her is when she's not happy about something. When things are going, she's like, baby, you killing it. Baby, you killing it. And then when we get to a lull or where something, or she feels like there's something I need to be doing, she's on it, baby, I need you to do this. And what she'll tell you is, I'm going to break my back to do it, because my desire is to do that. Am I always on point? Hell no. I am nowhere near satisfied with what I'm doing for my family. What I can tell you is, I show up every day. I put in work every day. Sometimes I'm so beat up and tattered by how the day is going, by how the week is going. And the last month and a half, since November, the beginning of November, it's been just crazy. But I wake up every day and I show up. And I am going to continue to show up as long as there's breath in my body. And I'm going to be, at the end of the day, I'm going to be okay. with who I am, as long as I get up and I show up and I give every day everything I have. Because in life, first of all, I have seen and known that at a certain point in time, when you planting seeds, you're going to reap the harvest. And so if you're getting up and you're showing up and you're putting in work, and the thing about business, so, you know, and that's what I tell people, there's risk. Thing about business is, you know, you get up, you got a job, you go to work, you clock in, you get paid. That comes with limitations, but you get paid. When you got a business, clients sometimes stop paying invoices. You can have a lull in getting new clients. You can have an industry issue where inventory goes short. You can have a situation like with my books where there's backlogs on printing and it causes problems. There's so many things that can go wrong that can put you in a stagnant situation, but you have to figure it out. You have to keep going. You have to keep fighting to figure it out. You have to call in reinforcements. One thing that I'm learning in this new stage that I'm in is that I need a team. I can't keep doing it by myself, that I've actually outgrown operating so solo. And like, it's hurting right now that I'm operating so solo. So I need to take some of this pressure off me, give it and outsource it and restructure. And that's what we're doing. But when I sit up and I talked about that, you know, to this person, he and I talked and he was just like, man, you know, it's just really rough. I'm tired. I'm just tired. Sometimes I don't even feel like getting out of bed. And I personally know this person. This person here is like daddy of the year for as I'm concerned. You know, he's that dude. He's never not going to show up. But sometimes it takes more than just showing up and you don't have it. So what do? And we've got to, brothers, as I close, we got to stop judging each other and stop using when our brothers are down as a way of making ourselves look better. You know, slide him the money under the table so nobody even knows what you did and tell him to hold his head up. Pull him to the side and say, hey, you know, I know you're doing the best you can for your family, man. Here you go until you get on your feet. This is between me and you. Nobody else got to know. You know, if you don't have friends like that, you need to start reconsidering your friends. Because if you're being judged for life, especially when you're looking at the economy the way it is and how many people are out there, and then the shifts that are going on where the skill sets that used to be something special and valuable aren't anymore because we're automating and we're using artificial intelligence and so many other things. Yeah, Alita, another one, you know, not having a reliable team. There's so many things that can happen. And the idea, that's why I try to be transparent when I'm talking to people and when I'm teaching or when I'm lecturing. You know, there are a lot of people that have put out the idea that once you get to this point, it's just smooth sailing. I ain't never seen that. I've known some people that were a lot better off than I was financially, and I was set for a long time. But I can tell you that those people who definitely are good, their children are good, they've still had issues. It's just life. Their issues are different financially than the average person's, but they still have issues. You can be a billionaire and have a cash flow issue. Now, your cash flow issue won't be because you don't have $1,200. Your cash flow issue might be that you got a issue where you need a cash flow of flowing to $500 million a month on one issue, on one particular project, and that cash flow isn't happening. It's still a problem because it'll totally disrupt and destroy your business if you don't get it figured out. Instead of your lights getting turned off, you lose an entire company. It's going to happen. The difference is, who do you have in your corner that's going to sit up and instead of laughing at you, come stand beside you? We got to stop this mess, man. We got to stop this, where you got to literally sit up and suffer by yourself because you are worried about how you're going to be judged if you ask for help. Hell, I'm going to ask for help. And if you, and it ain't that you got to help me, because if you ain't got it, you ain't got it. But my dogs, and I don't have but a few, if they got it, I got it. And if not, they're going to tell me, bro, I'm standing with you. If I come up with it, I'm going to call you, whatever. And the same with me. No questions asked. You know, and if I can't ask you for something, you're not my boy. I ain't gotta feel like, you know, whatever. And, you know, what I can tell you right now is it's tight. It's tight for a lot of people. You know, again, this isn't me sitting up saying that black men need a pass. We need to be held to the fire. I don't mind being held to the fire. I don't mind being told, hey, we need you to go to the next level. I don't mind being told, hey, you done committed to this. You need to take care of it. I don't mind. And I'm not just talking about my wife right here. I'm talking about business. I'm talking about agreements and stuff I've gotten into that I've got to honor and I got to stay up to, you know, despite what's going on with my business or whatever. I don't have a problem being held to the fire. If I commit to it, I expect to be held to the fire. That doesn't melt. The fire doesn't melt me. The fire doesn't burn me. The fire is not going to destroy me. It's going to make me stronger. It's going to refine me. It's going to push me to stand up and actually go do what I said I was going to do. But to think that everything flows and everything is great and everything is gravy, I'm telling you from personal experience of sitting down and talking to people and just listening, that life is real out there for a lot of black people. And to judge them because they're going through something as if they're trifling or lazy or uncommitted is not the way we're going to pull out of this. And another thing that we were talking about is we need more community living. One thing that my wife and I decided is that our children are not going to be out there struggling and suffering because they can't come home, because they done hit a hard spot and we done told them they're on their own. Another thing we're not going to do is we're not going to rush them out of the house to go be on their own, because 18, you ain't nowhere near ready to go out there and face what's out there waiting on you as a black person. Absolutely not. And so we're not doing that either. So, you know, we are actually, me and some friends are talking about building a compound. Obviously, that's not going to happen, you know, anytime soon, but we're talking about getting our finances lined up to where we can build a very large compound, call it a mansion, a compound, or whatever you want to call it, where we can bring our families and we can reside, have one mortgage, have the cars we need, and, you know, nothing else, but have a plan to pay that off in a short period of time, like 10 years or less, and then do what we need to do and build. We got a bunch of people out with, you know, look at families. You got in any family, you got all the siblings, the cubs, you got mama and daddy with a mortgage, all the siblings with a mortgage. Everybody's trying to pay everything. Everybody's struggling to keep everything above water. And nobody can go to anybody else because everybody's on tilt. Maybe mom and daddy's a little bit better, but they can't take care of everybody all at once. And so everybody's struggling and trying to keep their little sufferings and strugglings and everything struggling silent because they don't want nobody in their business. Instead of everybody coming together and say, no, we're going to build. We're going to get together. And we are going to develop and build something together. We're gonna come together. We're gonna have our families living under one roof. You know, and it's like, I've talked to people about it. I've gone to people about it. Say, hey, let's, you know, I need my own. So you rather struggle and say you got your own than to come together and unify. And like, there's a person who's actually, a couple of people black that have done this successfully. One is in Texas, and the other one is, I think, in Indianapolis, where they literally created a mansion large enough where each had a wing. So the family had a wing, and in that wing is everything that family needed, from a kitchen to everything else. They didn't have to go in the other part of the house if they didn't want to. They had family rooms, bedrooms, kitchen, bathrooms, everything in each wing. And they set up and built that, and they all contributed to paying the mortgage, and they contributed to paying at a rate that they could get it paid off in 10 years. And that freed up all kind of money. Now you got a home to live in, a nice home to live in. You got family, unity, love, children growing up together in an environment where everybody is on the same page, fighting and striving for the same thing. It's called community. We don't know about that because we've been individualized to the point that the more we're away from everybody, the more we doing our own thing, the better we feel about ourselves, and we're out on an island, and all it takes is one wrong move, and you're gonna find out life ain't no punk. I just was sitting up and I was thinking about that. And, you know, I mean, like I said, we've been talking for this whole week, just back and forth about what's going on and everything like that. And I'm sitting up and I'm just thinking, something was said that just made me sit up and think about it. And I'm like, hey man, that's not the life. You know, that you got people out here afraid to say they need help because of how they're going to be judged. I mean, man, life gets that way. And if you don't think it, keep living. Keep living. If you think it doesn't get that way, keep living. But what I want to say is there's a difference between struggle, love, and striving to build. If you're not building and striving and growing, it is a problem. And that needs to be addressed in-house. You need to be able, but see, one of the problems with that though is a lot of times we're not setting goals, we're not marking our progress. And so it's easy to sit up and seem like nothing's happening if you don't keep up with where you started and where you're at. If you can sit up and see growth, you're headed in the right direction. You may need to intensify your efforts. You may need to look at a few different ways of doing things. You got to be open-minded to making some changes. But at the end of the day, if you see progress, don't spit on it. Don't spit on progress because you're not where someone else is. You don't know what they took to get there. Don't do that. Don't let what somebody else is make you feel like what you're doing doesn't have value. People are real good at that. They'll make you feel like, man, you know, I did this, I did. What you need to do is, you know, I remember 5 years ago this. And see, I remember very clearly 8 years ago, 2012. I remember it. I remember it. And so I know clearly what I've been able to do. And I know what I fought to do and what fought through to do it and whatever. And so I'm good. And I'm never going to be satisfied with what I provide my family because I want to leave my family with so much. But I just had to get out there and talk about that because, you know, it's a lot happening. And we sit up and let social media tell us something about our reality that really isn't true. There are some of us that are doing well. Some of us are doing fantastic. But a lot of us are just trying to keep our heads above water. And because that's the reality doesn't mean that there's something wrong in the sense of the type of character and work ethic. It just means there needs to be some adjustments. There needs to be some unification. People need to stop trying to do it all by themselves. And on that note, I'm going to get off of here. But I just had to take a break from what I was doing and talk about this. And then I'm going to get back to doing what I need to do. You guys have a great day.
Here I come, ready or not. Frank Ocean made this record hot.
From a conceptual
sounded better than
perspective,
Jay.
things people talk
Real
about
talk,
it
I
as
ain't throwing shots. Careful who you leave clueless.